Below freezing temperatures can be just as dangerous for pets as well as their human companions. So we have our doctor here with us this morning, standing by with some safety tips. That's next.
Well, Fox 5 is your place for weather coverage. And with the cold weather and more snow on the way, we're talking about not just keeping yourself safe and warm, but your pets as well. And once again, Nova Mobile Vet owner Dr. Eric Cryan joins us. Tara's with us as well. Good to see both of you. Thanks, guys, for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure.
And we have
Whiskey Legend. Yeah, he's a very good dog. He's Tara's pooch, and Tara's the practice manager. Runs my practice great.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he's not an example of a dog and breed that's not so great in the cold, you know.
So that's my question number one, Tara, is what do you do? I see he's got the jacket on. I assume that that's going to help quite a bit.
He does have the jacket on, and we spend a lot of time not in the snow, but he does love it. But we spend more time inside, not getting our feet cold and wet.
Step number one. So as far as that, if you do go outside, right, if you have to walk your dog, which you know we all have to do, what's some of the advice that you have there? Tara, I'll start with you because you have Whiskey here. What do you do for Whiskey?
We just put the jacket on him just so he stays a little bit warmer and we can take a little bit of a longer walk, but just keeping the walks kind of short so his toes don't get too frozen, and probably staying off the snow more often than not, and staying on like maybe a treated sidewalk does help.
Now, Eric, here's the big question for you, is that it's fine. If we have like an inch of snow like we're going to get tomorrow, then it's probably okay and we'll manage it. When we have one of these storms like we had a couple of years ago, where you have like a foot, 2 feet of snow, you're not leaving the house, right? You're not leaving the neighborhood. It's one thing to walk the dog, but what if the dog or a cat or whoever, what if they get sick? And I guess our question for you is that what can we do at home if we can't get to you?
Correct. Good, great question. You know, with the cold and everything that Tucker Gang has predicted, you know, certainly we worry about their exposure. And so, you know, things that you could do at home to kind of prevent them when they get the ice crystals and things like that, you want to wipe up their paws because of the snow removal and the icers and the thing like that. If they're getting cold and shivering, you know, certainly you can put dry blankets around them, put a hot water bottle and wrap it with it and put them on. Certainly you want to avoid, you know, long time out. People will think that dogs can, you know, stay out much longer than people, and there's certainly some, you know, sled dogs and breeds that can handle the cold well. But generally, you know, the same precautions we worry about people is the same things you should worry about dogs when it's cold outside and things like that.
And what if it's something that it might not be weather related? Maybe the dog's just not feeling right.
Right.
Is there anything in particular we should watch for where we could say, and I'm just putting this out there for example, right? Like, a perfect weather day, I might take the dog to see you. Yeah. But if it's a terrible weather day, I need to know, can I wait another day before I come see you?
Yeah, certainly if the roads are wet, you want to prioritize things. And so if the dog is, you know, God forbid, having horrible, you know, vomiting or diarrhea, you know, holding up a leg, swelling, trouble breathing, swelling, you know, in the abdomen, anything like that, that's going to be a major emergency. But what we often encourage to people is reach out to your veterinarian, you know, so they can evaluate. Why nothing's going to beat the information you're going to gain on a physical exam and having the pet there. Oftentimes we'll get calls all the time that, you know, I'll get questions about, hey, does this sound like an emergency or can we monitor it? And so the things that we'll look for is, you know, if they look, you know, tremendously sick, dull, depressed, you know, if there's any swelling, if they're not able to hold food down, those are the ones where we're going to want to maybe risk, you know, going in and seeing the ER. If it's something more mild, where, hey, we're just holding up a leg and we're a little sore and want to, you know, try to give it a day if it's, you know, going to improve, you know, then you'd be all right. If we had a little cut on the paw and you want to just clean it off, put a little, you know, Vaseline or something on it, you know, a little abrasion, that's not going to be emergency, and that's something you could treat at home.
And that's the information, quite honestly, that we wanted to hear, because a lot of people have those questions and they want to know at what point do I take that next step. Good to know that the first thing, you can make that phone call. If you're in bad weather, make the phone call and hopefully get a little more analysis there. Last thing for you, you are typically coming to us with the mobile unit. Do you have a point where you're like, I'm not driving today?
A good question. We have a couple different trucks. You know, our biggest one that has surgery and x-ray and things like that is 26 foot. So if there's, you know, bad roads, that can be more challenging. But we got a medium-sized kind of transit that handles most things. And worst case, if the weather's bad, we'll take an SUV out. But most of the time, you know, especially in the last 2 years, this is the first time we've really, you know, had a little snow to affect things. And so, you know, we moved appointments around when things were getting a little dodgy with the ice on Tuesday night. But for the most part, you know, we're seeing pets 6 days a week.
Absolutely. Well, you got the precious cargo, no doubt about it. So you want to keep everybody safe. Tara, thanks for bringing Whiskey in today. It's good to see you. Eric, it's always a pleasure. I appreciate it. There's the information if you'd like to get in touch and get a little more information to keep your pet safe as well. Thanks, guys. Marissa?
Great advice and such a well-mannered pet. It's a good dog.